Well, I've told this story before, but forgive me if you've heard it. But after an introduction like that, the reality is always going to be disappointing, isn't it? When I was first Archbishop and I was at Chichester Cathedral, there was a big crowd. We were having a huge prayer day, and the place was absolutely heaving. I was dressed in a black cassock rather than a sort of bishop's purple one, and wandering round, and this man came up to me and said to me, "I hear the Archbishop of Canterbury is here today." And I said, "Yes, he is." And he said, "Could you introduce me?" So I did the sort of very humble bit, slightly proudly, and said, "Well, actually, it's me." And he looked me up and down like this. And he said, "Oh," and turned round and walked away. So I'm sorry if I disappoint, but you'll just have to put up with that. Welcome to Lambeth. Many of you have been here before, and it's such a treat to see old friends who have been here before. It's also a real privilege to have such a group of young leaders who are so crucial to these troubled times that we are going through. I greatly appreciate that you should have come here this evening, and far from all the thanks that were given, I want to thank you for being with us this evening. It is a marvelous thing that you are here. Thank you very, very much indeed. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This has been, for the Muslim community, the longest Ramadan in over 30 years. Your faithfulness in observing Ramadan in this way has been an example of what it means to take faith seriously. It's an extraordinary thing. And you have been much in our prayers and thoughts with the pressure of this time of year, the very, very long days, the early mornings, the late evenings, and for many people, probably some here, having to cope with exams in the middle of all of it. May God give you strength to complete this time. It's also a huge privilege to welcome the new Mayor of London, Sadiq. The first Muslim mayor, an example to the world of what this incredible multi-ethnic world city is. It is, both my wife and I grew up in London, we're both Londoners, but we went to other parts of the country for 23 years, learnt huge amounts traveling around, then came back to find this city so full of life and energy that it is no surprise that our mayor is someone who is himself full of life and energy and tackling the issues he's facing so fiercely, so determinedly, and so well. Mr. Mayor, you are much in our prayers and thoughts. We welcome you and value you very greatly indeed. We are, though, at the moment, as we know, a country that has gone through a bruising electoral campaign, and we are, to some degree, a country divided, 52 to 48, as we know in one sense, but divided demographically between how younger people voted and how older people voted, divided regionally, particularly with London having voted very clearly to remain and other places having voted to leave. We are in a democracy. We accept the result. This is what happens when you have a democracy. People vote, and some people win and some people lose, and if you're on the wrong side and you lose, you just have to say, well, that's the privilege of democratic government. But the privilege of democracy is to vote, to campaign vigorously, to have robust and firm discussion. It is not a privilege of democracy to express hatred, to use division as an excuse for prejudice and for hate-filled attacks. We have seen a sharp increase in those in the last few days. Somehow people who were already of evil will, and I'm not blaming the Leave campaign, I want to be quite clear about that, but people who were of evil will are using this as an excuse, a mere sham for their hatred to be expressed. I particularly condemn the attack on the Polish Centre in Hammersmith. That is an outrageous attack on the representatives of a country who have been friends and allies of Britain for decades, and who we value very greatly. And I know from you being here that you will stand, and we will stand together against intolerance, discrimination, and hatred. That is absolutely crucial for the future of this country and for rebuilding our country with a new vision of what it means to be outward-looking, generous, hospitable, powerful in doing good, strong in resisting evil. From a Christian point of view, we come as Christians to an event like this, rejoicing in your fellowship and friendship, because as Christians, we believe that every human being is loved by God, is loved by Christ, and is given intrinsic dignity by their creation in the image of God. We value you in every possible way. We are delighted that you are here. Let us be those who stand up, speak out, and stand especially with the most vulnerable. It makes a huge challenge for us to build relationships at every level. It's easy to make public declarations. I look around and I see one or two heroes of mine here. I won't embarrass them, but they know who they are. And I value them particularly because within their own community, they have stood for what is right, and it has cost them dear. We praise God for such people. But we must also build these links at schools, in the workplace, in places of worship, in sharing with one another. Thank you for taking the effort to do that this evening. Thank you for those especially who've been fasting since early this morning, who are here this evening. We are deeply grateful for your presence, and I bless you for the love and the commitment you show. Thank you.